This is the first full-frame digital camera that I ever owned. This is the old girl, the Sony A7R Mark I. I got this one used off of eBay back in, I guess, 2015 when I switched from my Canon 7D Mark I. This thing has been frozen in the Appalachian Mountains. It's been rained on the East Coast. It's been rained on the West Coast. It has sea sprayed on it down in South Carolina. It's made pictures all the way up into Canada, up into the Great Lakes area, all through the American Southwest, almost down towards Mexico, Route 66, the Colorado Rockies, you name it. This camera has never given me a hiccup, well, until the other day. When on that unfortunate day, I noticed that the shutter, which I have on this wheel here, the shutter speed adjustment, started doing this weird sticking thing. It only goes 1 or 2 stops either direction, then it jumps a little bit. I don't know what's going on there. But today what we're going to do is take the back off the Sony A7R Mark I and see, hopefully, if maybe there's just a little bit of grit or sand or something jammed in with that wheel. Now, I can just reassign the shutter adjustment to maybe another button, another wheel. I'm going to do that as a last resort because I really want to see what the problem is, honestly. I have had the back off this camera before. I don't know, maybe 2 years ago. I had a little crack. I think it was down here maybe by the battery compartment on it. The cool thing about this is the whole back is just one system, so the wheels, everything like that. Pull one back off, put another one on, and you're good to go. We're not going to mess with any of the electronics. I don't feel comfortable in doing that, and I want to mention before we get rolling here, guys, if you don't feel comfortable working with anything, it's probably best don't, especially if it's your main camera body, which this one no longer is. I virtually retired it when I got the Sony A7R Mark III and relegated it to just shooting video. So I'm not just going to be up the creek completely if this thing just dies on me, which you're not going to do. So yeah, I just want to throw that caveat in there, guys, before we get going. Alright guys, let's belly up and tear in here. First thing we're going to do is, of course, remove the old Nikon strap from this guy. This came off a Nikon F3 35mm camera. Excellent on its own. Now, before we touch anything else, we are going to evacuate that battery. Definitely don't want any electricity going on. Shut the battery compartment and then actually turn it on, just in case we've got any residual discharge there. We want to get rid of all that. So it's on, off, good to go. And if you'll notice, the camera is not dirty by any means. I do my best to take care of my stuff, but it is a little dusty in some of these areas, so I'm just really quick going to blow it off and then clean it off so that when we take the back, remove the back, we don't have as much dust and stuff falling down into the components. The next thing we're going to do is a little weird. I'm a big fan of using this car detailing putty. If you're a 90s kid, or late 80s kid, whatever, like me, remember GAC? That's the new form of GAC. I swear, it's just been rebranded. Anyway, I use this stuff to clean my cameras, the exterior of my cameras, not glass or anything. I restored this old 1938 typewriter. This worked wonders for that. Of course, you can use it on your car, but it's really great at just throwing on your camera, letting it sit for a second, get all gooey. And what it does is go down in those little cracks, little crevices, little nooks, little crannies, and it lifts out all that dirt. Works great. I don't know why more people don't use this, by the way. It's very cheap. Okay, that looks like enough. And you see, you just peel it off. Doesn't really leave any residue. Kind of self-contained. If there is anything left, you just kind of dab it off like that. Excellent job. Thing's very clean. I'll just do that to the rest of the camera. All right, very good. Now from here on out, it's just a matter of removing a few screws, and a few of these are hidden, but they are all very tiny, so watch out for that. The last time I had this old girl apart, I just used a little cheap screwdriver set. Luckily, since then I've got this very nifty little micro tool set. Works wonders for cameras, guys. They're not that much. Pay attention to the reviews on Amazon. Get you one that has very, very good reviews, because they're not all made equal. But I think this thing's 24, 25 bucks. If you like tinkering with stuff like I do, this will be one of the best buys you ever make. All the little screws here are Phillip head. I'm not exactly sure of the sizes, but I'll tell you that for sure in just a second. Let me get something that's probably going to be okay. This is a 0.8, one of these visible screws. See how well that's going to fit. I think that's going to be a little small. I think the 2mm is going to be our winner there. Alright, so I'm going to start taking these screws out. There's one here on the right side of the camera by the record button. Very tiny. They are ferrous, so they are magnetic. And there's your little screw. And if I'm not mistaken, there are, I think, 10 of these little guys total, something like that. So it's a good idea. Have a great little flat workspace and really keep an eye on those little screws, because you don't want to lose them. So I'm going to work around the camera. Take these little screws out. There's one here by the mic and the headphone jack. There's two kind of hidden behind the screen. They're at the very top of the screen here. And then there's, I know, one or two more. I know one of those has to come out, but there's one down here at the very bottom of the battery compartment. The rest are going to be kind of obvious here on the bottom of the camera. So take all those out, and this thing should start getting really loose, and then we'll just have to kind of loop it over the LCD here. Oh, and something to mention too, I forgot about the two screws that are on top of the, or at the top of the recess for the LCD screen here. They are a little bit different than the screws for the rest of the body, a little bit smaller. So there's the little screws that go on top of the LCD monitor. Oops. That's the little screw for the top of the LCD monitor, and that's the screws size for the rest of the body. Still tiny. And guys, I don't know if you can hear it or not, it's burning up in here, so I've got a little tiny fan cooking over here to my left to kind of keep things cool. Okay, I'm going to open up the mic, headphone, and then the charging ports here. Oh yeah, I'm missing a screw. Yeah, hiding out. Can you see it? Maybe. Little screw right there. So yeah, definitely, if it's it's another small screw. If it's not coming off easier, definitely don't force it. Just stop what you're doing and look for wayward screws that aren't wanting to let that thing go. Definitely coming off on the side here. I can't remember if I took that screw out in front the last time. I didn't think I did, but maybe I did. Let's just take it out and see. So yeah, I'll say again, I've had this thing off before, replaced it, and I still am forgetting screws. I found another one. You have to remove the battery door, which is this little release catch right there. Pull that back and off, and voila. Little screw right there. Hopefully that's the last one. Another small guy. Okay, is that it? Yes, no, maybe. There we go. Another great little tool to have is a little plastic pry bar. Did I take that diopter off last time? Did I? Alright guys, one more thing. I guess I took that diopter off. It shows you how much I don't remember. Really easy to do. Oh, there's a few screws in there, but you just push down here at the bottom and up. Little cup comes off. 4 screws there, including the viewfinder adjustment. So let's take those out. I'm going to keep all this hardware separate right there in the cup. Weirdly enough, and I don't know why I didn't think of it, I actually have the first time I took this back off, and I already feel the back releasing a little bit. I think I wrote a blog about it. I said a couple years ago when I actually did it and had pictures, so that might have helped me out too. Went back and looked at that, but oh well. Like I said, I think we have to take this wheel off too. Maybe could get away with just loosening that. Yeah, Eureka. Just shimmy that right over the back. I remember this was a very tricky thing to do. There we go. Now, back is off. Still very clean. Looks pretty good. So we'll set that aside here. And now, Sony Guts. This is the little tiny floating, ever so delicate video record button. The relay at least. I don't really see anything. I'm not sure if I can get you to see it in the camera, but of course that's the wheel. It's funny, it's like I can see a little tiny bit of corrosion up in there, maybe. I don't know. Thanks for sharing your DIY haircut fix. Thanks for sharing your inner lip sync style. Now, it's our turn to share. With the Geico Gift, 15% rate on car and motorcycle policies for current and new customers. Because we're committed for the long haul. The 15% credit lasts your full policy term. Visit Geico.com/feedback for more info and eligibility. No phone on the phone, but then your boss tells you to switch off the job, and you buy a car you know you have to. Don't worry about the R&D something. There's a medical design that's in the seats of put together interior and customer experience safety because it's hot, so no compromise. Okay. Now, what I will do, if I can, I'll put the battery back in. Be real careful here. And see if just maybe turning that a little bit and wiggling it around might have fixed the problem. Just be on the safe side, maybe. And it has not. Okay guys, well, that's at least one troubleshoot. Like I said, I don't really see anything in there. I've got a feeling I'll end up having to take this entire assembly apart. So this just turned into a two-part video. So yeah, we're going to shut it off here. Just give you a look at the inner workings, kind of show you why these cameras can cost so much and be so expensive. A lot of little tiny parts in there. So yeah, if you have a Sony A7 series, one of the early ones, the A7, the A7S, or A7R Mark 1s, pretty cool cameras even today. So what I'm gonna do, guys, take a little closer look, see if there's just maybe some dirt in there, something else I can see with the camera not so much in the way, maybe some grits, see what all else we'll have to tear into. Hopefully it'll be an easy fix. So yeah, until then guys, as always, I'm Adam Welch. Thanks a lot for joining me here in the part 1 of the hopefully repairing the sticky shutter wheel on the A7R Mark 1.